Within the land of origin, few could garner Emperor Fu's regard, and Luo he was one of them. Huyang City. This task. Luo Feng looked over the task to garrison the entrance to the Heavenly Pillar realm, which required a millennium and offered only 10 million merit points. Still, he was shocked. How did such an excellent task fall into my hands? These types of tasks were coveted by guest elder godly kings. Huyang City, the premier treasure land of the land of origin. The two ancient countries sealed off the entrances here at all costs. Other forces simply couldn't sneak in, the only way to get in was to force their way through. Luo Feng was aware of this. The guardian of the Shadow Sky realm is bound to have emperors and monarchs guarding it. The Flame Wind ancient country would arrange for an emperor while the Thunder ancient country would assign a monarch. These were the core strength of the defense. Luo Feng. Mentor Emperor Chu sent a message. Did you receive the task? Yes, master. How did such a good task fall into my hands? Luo Feng inquired. It was given to you by Di Fu, Emperor Chu said. This time Di Yan and the others planned to strip you of your guest elder status. At that time Di Yan, Di Shi, Di Wu, Di Yuan and Di Kong 5 emperors agreed. If there were a 6th emperor to agree, you would have been stripped of your guest elder status. Luo Feng understood, so, in addition to Di Yan's core group there were Di Yuan and Di Wu? Di Fu also arranged this task for you. I will send you a Shadow Sky Realm map intelligence. Seize the opportunity well. Emperor Chu promptly sent a map intelligence. Good, I will head to the Heavenly Pillar realm now. After confirming with his master, Luo Feng naturally chose to accept the task. The moment a task was taken, was the moment of departure. Whoosh. A black-clad avatar of Luo Feng quietly left Huyang City, heading to the entrance of the Heavenly Pillar realm. There were a total of 36 entrances to the Heavenly Pillar realm. Luo Feng arrived at the nearest one, which was located in a wide expanse of wilderness in midair. With Luo Feng's realm he could sense a vast expanse of twisting void here. Swoosh, Luo Feng voluntarily flew into it. As he entered, endless golden light enveloped a vast area. Stay connected via Empire. Luo Feng immediately saw a white skeletal figure sitting cross-legged in the distance. This skeletal figure, white and smooth as if made of ivory, had a pair of normal eyes in its sockets calmly looking towards Luo Feng. Luo he godly king, the skeletal figure stood up, smiling. My duty period has ended, and I wondered who would come to take over. Turns out it's the newly promoted second realm Luo he godly king. Seems that the ruling emperor holds Luo he godly king in high regard. Nurturing 192 Primordial Bloodline Beast Eggs has always been the responsibility of Emperor Xian, so she was the one to issue the task. As for the Heavenly Pillar Realm Garrison task as the first treasure land, only the ruling emperor had the authority to issue this task. It's also luck, Luo Feng said with a smile. Follow me first to pay homage to Emperor Xian, said the skeletal figure. Guarding the Heavenly Pillar Realm is mainly Emperor Xian's responsibility. We are merely assisting the emperor. Luo Feng nodded. Thank you, God King Bai Feng. God King Bai Feng, one of the guest elder godly kings of the Flame Wind ancient country, was a second realm of the great Tao of Life godly king, and had a life and death friendship with Emperor Xian. God King Bai Feng manifested an avatar to accompany Luo Feng further inside. The entrance's formation was a combination of those from the Flame Wind ancient country and the Thunder ancient country. Besides God King Bai Feng, there was also a Thunder ancient country's guest elder godly king guarding there, a figure with water blue long hair. The Heavenly Pillar, Luo Feng remarked, looking at a towering column. The column's height was immeasurable. There are 36 heavenly pillars each at one of the 36 entrances, God King Bai Feng explained. They uphold the entire Heavenly Pillar realm, and each column has its own chances for fortune. When you guard the realm you can explore them. Luo Feng nodded. He could send 36 avatars to guard the entrances and could divide a few more to explore the Heavenly Pillar realm. We can only explore the outer perimeter of the Heavenly Pillar realm, God King Bai Feng said. The inner areas of the realm are exclusive to the two imperial clans. I understand, Luo Feng acknowledged. He knew this after receiving information from his master Emperor Chu. The Heavenly Pillar realm was not like any ordinary treasure land. This was where the ancestor of the universe left his most crucial treasure sites, and the two ancient countries spared no expense to monopolize this place. The Heavenly Pillar. Luo Feng looked from afar, feeling the overwhelming pressure coming from the pillars, which was greater than the pressure from a complete Great Tao. Moving deeper from the entrance, passing through two large entrance formations, they flew for a long while before arriving at the inner area of the Heavenly Pillar realm. There was a formation barrier around the edge of the inner area. Emperor, God King Bai Feng respectfully saluted, and a figure emerged from the formation, a figure with a terrifying might, clad in a black robe with golden secret patterns, his gaze cold. Luo he pays his respects to the emperor, Luo Feng said, knowing the other party was Emperor Xian and also the past life teacher of Emperor Gui Xu. From his conversations with Emperor Gui Xu, Luo he knew the emperor was very grateful to his teacher. Imperial rules, Emperor Xian addressed Luo Feng. You are responsible for guarding the entrance and may explore the peripheral regions, but you are forbidden to enter the inner area of the Heavenly Pillar realm. Yes, Luo Feng replied. While guarding the entrance in case of invaders, cooperate with the formation to resist at full strength. I will arrive as quickly as possible, Emperor Xian instructed coldly. Yes, Luo Feng responded again. Go, Emperor Xian said, then turned and went back into the inner formation area. Luo Feng felt a silent appreciation. Among the emperors who practiced primordial bloodline cultivation, Emperor Xian was considered to have a good temper, merely being extremely proud and caring about honor and hierarchy. But precisely because of his pride, he upheld his dignity in his actions. LuoFeng could tell at a glance that about 3,600 intertwining secret patterns had led him to the vision of the giant axe diagram. The patterns were far simpler than those of the blood-colored scales of the Star Tower. But the vision was extremely profound, and the pressure to observe was relatively small. A normal cultivator of the second realm of Godly King level from the land of origin could see this hidden scene of the heavenly pillar. This axe, it feels like the path of destruction. Only much more profound. In the future, I can contemplate it further. LuoFeng wasn't in a hurry to immerse himself. His main focus now was on the 24 forms, and the most urgent matter was to achieve a breakthrough for the world life form as quickly as possible. Such a scene, far surpassing a complete origin Great Tao and with such simple patterns, would undoubtedly be much harder to comprehend than to understand a complete origin Great Tao. This was also the reason why the two imperial clans were willing to let guest elders observe it. It was tough to make significant discoveries. To gain even a sliver of understanding and to create a formidable secret technique would already be quite an achievement. LuoFeng successively watched 36 heavenly pillars, each wrapped in secret patterns, and his spiritual will was clear enough to discern the final vision that the secret patterns transformed into. Sometimes it was a giant axe that split everything. Sometimes it was an endless raging river. Sometimes it was a strange cube. Sometimes it was a flaming lotus. Every scene the vision was beyond the Great Tao. I heard that once one comprehends a complete origin Great Tao, there are no clear guidelines anymore. One must grope in the dark, LuoFeng thought. These 36 heavenly pillars are probably like a lamp in the darkness, guiding the way. These 36 heavenly pillars were primarily related to the 9 origin Great Taos of the land of origin, such as the Tao of life and the path of destruction, with 4 pillars each. Senior Yuan truly put in great effort. LuoFeng could feel the goodwill this predecessor had towards later generation cultivators. After briefly exploring the outer regions of the heavenly pillar realm, LuoFeng settled down to garrison the area and focused on his cultivation. Eons passed by. Hoo-hoo. 2 figures flew into the formation, their command tokens resonating with the formation, encountering no resistance. LuoFeng, responsible for the garrison, looked up. So it's Luo he God King on duty, one of the figures said with a smile. LuoFeng smiled as well. Tianmu God King, long time no see. When he first went to the treasure land Infinite Space, he met Tianmu God King. As a member of the Flame Wind Ancient Country royal family, Tianmu God King was very friendly towards him, which was quite rare, so LuoFeng remembered it vividly. We are fated to meet. When Luo he God King ventured to the Infinite Space, he was at the Primal Chaos realm. At that time I was just at the first realm of Godly King, Tianmu God King said with a smile. Now Luo he God King has reached the second realm of Godly King, while I am still at the first realm. Tianmu God King felt somewhat wistful. He had access to far better resources than LuoFeng, able to enter many treasure lands and obtain many precious resources. He didn't want to use his primordial bloodline at the first realm of Godly King. He desired to reach the second realm of Godly King first and resort to using the primordial bloodline only if he hit an absolute bottleneck. Tianmu, let's go. Another emperor-level existence of the royal family God King in the second realm frowned and snapped. He couldn't be bothered to exchange a word with LuoFeng. Goodbye. Tianmu God King bid farewell to LuoFeng and left with his companion. LuoFeng watched them leave. In the blink of an eye, LuoFeng had garrisoned the heavenly pillar realm for 27 eons. During this time, 2 royal family God Kings from the Flame Wind Ancient Country entered, and 3 royal family God Kings from the Thunder Ancient Country also entered. The royal family God Kings from the Thunder Ancient Country barely glanced at LuoFeng and disdainfully entered the depths of the heavenly pillar realm without a word. I always heard that the royal family God Kings of the Thunder Ancient Country generally cultivated the primordial bloodline and some royals treated all non-royals like servants, LuoFeng mused privately. Compared to them, the Flame Wind Ancient Country seems slightly better. In these tranquil years, he gradually comprehended each of the 24 forms. As his understanding deepened, the later stages became quicker, until he finally comprehended them all. It is done. In this moment, all avatars of LuoFeng scattered across infinite space, Dream Domain, Heavenly Pillar Realm, the Primordial Cosmos region, and Huyang City smiled simultaneously. God King Baifeng, let's proceed with the handover. LuoFeng looked towards God King Baifeng by his side. God King Baifeng nodded slightly and his body transformed, splitting into 36 avatars. Let's go, I'll lead the way. LuoFeng also divided himself into 36 avatars and went to different entrances of the Heavenly Pillar Realm to carry out the handover. Clone techniques of the time Primordial Tao, Origin Tao of Space, Great Tao of Life Origin, and Origin Tao of the Infinite all exist, but each has its differences. The clone technique of the time lineage, including the original self, can only create 3 avatars, representing past, present, and future. Yet each avatar has a complete physical body and soul, with peak strength as if 3 complete selves were confronting the enemy. Moreover, these 3 selves could exist on different timelines. The path of space is similar, with a limited number of powerful avatars that can be cultivated, each maintaining a complete physical body and soul. The paths of life and infinity are different. For the path of life, the number of avatars is unlimited, but they are all split from oneself. For instance, Luo Feng has only one powerful soul, and as he divides part of it, the divided soul is considerably weaker. He can only control a finite number of world life forms. The more he splits, the weaker he becomes. The path of infinity is the same. While it claims infinity, it is still unique. This has already made other paths envious. Destruction, extreme point, causality, matter, world, typically can't cultivate clone techniques. Like Yuan's illusionary avatar, it is actually a technique from the Void Realm Tao, a great Tao not present in the land of origin. The path Yuan is now on, the unity of illusion and reality, is also a fusion path that aims to unite the Void Realm Tao and World Tao. However, this path is even more difficult than LuoFeng's. Continue your saga on Empire. The bases of life and destruction that Luo Feng regards as fundamental are based on complete great Taos. Yuan's illusory path has nothing to reference. To seek unity? Naturally, it is even more elusive and beyond reach. Brother Luo, I entrust you with the garrison duty from now on, God King Bai Feng said with a smile after completing the handover with Luo Feng. Being a garrison commander here might put you in some tough spots. You'll have to bear with it. I understand, Luo Feng nodded with a smile. The Heavenly Pillar Realm, viewed as the first treasure land, allows at most a guest elder to be a garrison commander, while the true exploration deep into the Heavenly Pillar Realm is done by the high-ranking members of the two great imperial clans. Numerous members of the two imperial clans practice the Primordial Bloodline, and many have bad tempers. God King Bai Feng nodded and then flew away. Luo Feng watched him leave. God King Bai Feng and Emperor Xian are close friends in life and death, and he has completely joined the Flame Wind ancient country. But it seems he has also endured quite a bit of mistreatment, Luo Feng thought to himself. The guest elder godly kings in the Flame Wind ancient country royal family who are made use of, all extraordinary. After all, the Flame Wind ancient country royal family doesn't care for the weak. In terms of strength, God King Bai Feng is comparable to King Tiandu and Emperor Gui Xu, his reputation grand and far-reaching. Of course, from an outsider's perspective, Luo Feng at the first realm of Godly King was already able to match the master of the Sure Kingdom. Now at the second realm of Godly King and with the number of avatars he has, he shouldn't be far behind God King Bai Feng and Emperor Gui Xu. Most importantly, Luo Feng's rise has been rapid with immense potential. Emperors and monarchs must pay him attention. Emperor Yan Dishi and Di Wu targeted Luo Feng not only because of his feud with Emperor Chu but also because they felt the threat Luo Feng represented. Thus, they wanted to strip him of his guest elder status, preventing Luo Feng from obtaining certain opportunities. However, Di Fu appointed Luo Feng to garrison the Heavenly Pillar Realm. The ruling emperor holds the greatest power. His bias in favor of Luo Feng meant that Emperor Yan and others were helpless. Luo Feng maneuvered the array plate he received from the handover, with the terrifying might of the formation enveloping the surroundings. The 36 auxiliary formations are integrated with the central core formation, which is primarily controlled by Emperor Xian. Luo Feng felt, I can only guide and manipulate the might of the formation. With the power of the formation I can suppress the likes of Emperor Gui Xu and Wuxing God King. Luo Feng confirmed this. The formation of the Flame Wind ancient country in the first treasure land is also the most powerful. Only if the team from the Reincarnation Tower proceeds with leaders like the Wind City Empress or the Earth God King can they withstand the formation and move forward. But by doing so, the garrison commanders and monarchs of the two ancient countries will also join the battle immediately. The combined might of the two, along with the formation, can only be imagined. Although I am a garrison commander, I dare not let cultivators enter on my own. Since Emperor Xian, as the controller of the formation, can sense everything happening here, the use of Luo Feng was only to make it exponentially harder for outsiders to break the formation. Without a garrison commander, a fixed formation plate would be much easier to crack. With a garrison commander carrying it, one must first kill the garrison commander. Protected by the formidable formation, killing Luo Feng's avatar, who has reached the second realm of Godly King, would be notably difficult. According to the information from my master, the greatest opportunity on the outskirts of the Heavenly Pillar Realm are those 36 pillars. With a thought, Luo Feng divided out an avatar and flew towards a towering heavenly pillar in the distance. The pillar extended high with no end in sight. Luo Feng landed in front of this pillar and immediately noticed a figure in purple armor not far away. Yano Demon King. Luo Feng recognized the figure at a glance. Yano Demon King, also a top 3 powerhouse among the guest elder godly kings of the Thunder ancient country, follows the path of destruction and cultivates the primordial bloodline. His strength is extremely formidable, and he is highly valued by the Thunder ancient country. Yano God King looked up at Luo Feng. Luo he God King, Yano God King said with a faint smile. Despite his pride, he dared not underestimate this Luo he God King. The momentum of Luo he God King was indeed terrifying, and many of the ancient and powerful beings in the land of origin believed that Luo he God King was likely to reach the level comparable to emperors. Yano Demon King. Luo Feng nodded in return, then carefully examined the towering heavenly pillar. Countless secret patterns spread over this heavenly pillar. Luo Feng watched intently. Boom. As Luo Feng observed, the spreading secret patterns transformed into a giant axe that seemed boundless and endless. The axe was so vast that Luo Feng could only see a part of it, yet he felt as though it could split all rules and cleave through everything. Luo Feng was utterly astounded. He watched spellbound for several days before finally stopping. This axe's vision indeed far surpasses that of a complete origin great Tao, Luo Feng thought. It has a hint of the flavor of the Star Tower's blood-colored scales. However, the patterns on the Star Tower scales are more vast and detailed, requiring the will beyond the godly king level just to observe them. As for this heavenly pillar, it feels like the will at the ultimate realm of the God King is sufficient to observe it, and the patterns seem more rudimentary and casual. Stripping a guest elder of their title requires at least half of the attending emperors to agree. Therefore, on this proposal, abstaining is essentially equivalent to disagreeing. Emperor Yen stared at Emperor Fu. He had always valued Emperor Fu. They were among the earliest emperors of the flame-wind ancient country, with Emperor Yen being the first and Emperor Fu the second. The earliest emperors had always been quite united. But then Emperor Fu had forsaken the primordial bloodline to choose reincarnation, and afterward, he became even more formidable. Using formations for body refinement without much reliance on external forces, he had cultivated to become an ultimate realm life form, which shocked the entire land of origin. Emperor Yen could also deduce that Emperor Fu was likely the next Emperor Qing. Even if he couldn't break through this reincarnation era, he would be able to do so after leaving the source world and given more extended time. Emperor Fu's potential was much greater than that of their trio of emperors, which is why he had always been on good terms with Emperor Fu. Who would have thought that, over such a trivial matter today, Emperor Fu would actually stand on the opposite side? Emperor Yen, Emperor Fu said, Luo he has been a godly king for just over 2 centuries. To strip him of his guest official status after 2 centuries of not accepting tasks, if word got out, it would reflect poorly on us. After all, the right to refuse tasks was determined by the ancestor. Emperor Yen looked at Emperor Fu. Emperor Fu spoke gently, but his words were impossible to persuade otherwise. Forget it, Emperor Yen disappeared immediately, retreating and leaving. With his departure, Emperor Shi and Emperor Xian also left. To think they still behave as if the flame-wind ancient country was still the time when he was emperor? Emperor Kong scoffed, still wanting to do as they please. Soon one by one the emperors began to leave as well. Emperor Chu, Emperor Fu called out, and quickly only Emperor Fu and Emperor Chu were left in the vast expanse. Emperor Fu, thank you for this time, Emperor Chu said with a smile. Emperor Fu's vote was the last. If he had chosen to agree, then guest official Luo he would have been stripped of his title. So his final vote was very important. Emperor Fu smiled and said, in this matter Luo he is truly not at fault. I've also seen the task that Emperor Yen and the others had assigned to Luo he, to split into 192 avatars to watch over the Primordial Bloodline Beast Eggs for 3 millennia. For an average second realm godly king, 3 millennia is indeed not long. But for Luo he, who reached the second realm as a godly king in just over 2 centuries, now is the time when his cultivation is advancing by leaps and bounds, to have him delay 3 millennia of cultivation. Anyone would refuse. Yes, Luo he is at a critical juncture in his cultivation, if he were stuck at a bottleneck for countless millennia, unable to advance an inch. Assigning him this task then would be of no consequence, Emperor Chu nodded, but at this moment, it really isn't suitable for him to take it on. However, since becoming a godly king, Luo he indeed hasn't taken on another task. Emperor Fu said, I think if we get him to quickly take on a task, Emperor Yen and the others will have no grounds to complain. Accepting a task is also fine. Emperor Chu nodded, but it must not affect Luo he's cultivation. I have a task here, see what you think. Emperor Fu immediately sent a task to Emperor Chu. To garrison the entrance to the Heavenly Pillar Realm, the first treasure land for 1,000 millennia? Emperor Chu looked up, his eyes lighting up. Good, good, very good. Emperor Fu laughed. Although garrisoning the entrance requires the creation of 36 avatars, it does not require the expenditure of heart force, only needing to engage in battle if enemies invade, and the chances of battle over that 1,000 millennia are slim. I have no objections, Emperor Chu smiled and nodded, quite good. Such a task was the kind that Kuching God Kings would scramble for. Firstly, it is minimal strain on the heart force, not tiring in the slightest. Secondly, it also provides an opportunity to explore some areas of the Heavenly Pillar Realm, the first treasure land. Then I will send this task to Luo he, Emperor Fu nodded. Very soon, Emperor Chu bid farewell to Emperor Fu with a laugh, evidently in a very good mood. Only Emperor Fu was left in the vast and boundless space. Luo he. Standing there, Emperor Fu watched as an immense formation rose within the vast and boundless space, the formation's operation naturally revealing many secrets of the land of origin, including the nodes related to Luo he, which were rather conspicuous. From the primordial cosmos through the cycle of reincarnation to the land of origin, he arrived as an eternal true god. Within a century he became a godly king. And in another 2 centuries he reached the second realm of a godly king. Furthermore he is favored by supreme rules. Such potential once he leaves the land of origin should become my fellow traveler, thought Emperor Fu. In terms of deductions on the secrets of the land of origin, Emperor Fu was ranked first. Although the Wind City Empress, the Earth God King, the Mother River Master, the mysterious presence in the Shadow Sky Realm, and the Fire Ancestor could all fight above their levels, comparable to emperors, they were unable to cultivate an ultimate realm life form. Emperor Fu, without consuming too many precious treasures and solely through formation body refinement, had reached the status of an ultimate realm life form. In terms of accumulation in this era, he was the one most likely to reach the ultimate realm after Emperor Qing and the Lord of 10,000 Realms. According to the ancestor, after leaving the land of origin, one faces countless dangers and surviving is difficult. Emperor Fu considered, Emperor Yan's temperament and their strength potential are not suitable to be fellow travelers. Luo he might become my fellow traveler, and I may even need his help. But within himself, he was constantly longing for that day, a fixation that had already penetrated deep into his soul. SSSSSSSSS. Mountain-sitting guest closed his eyes and began to delve into cultivation again, exploring the primordial bloodline within his body. He could only temporarily forget the hatred through immersive cultivation. If he stopped cultivating, he would always think of the hatred, always remembering those haunting figures. Teacher. Suddenly, a voice came through causality. Mountain-sitting guest was startled, stopped his cultivation and responded with a smile. Luo Feng, what is it? Come to Huyang City. It is now time to act against the three masters of the Sure Kingdom. This transmission through causality felt like it struck mountain-sitting guest's soul. At this moment, his soul was trembling. Now it's time to act? As a godly king, it took mountain-sitting guest a full 3 breaths to completely regain his senses. But at this moment, he felt as though he had ingested the most precious treasure, his soul in an unprecedented state of excitement. His thought processes were soaring, and his spiritual will was unprecedentedly concentrated. I'm on my way. Mountain-sitting guest quietly responded and then immediately left the cave mansion, quietly rushing to Huyang City. Past meetings between master and disciple were generally in Xiangjie City, because it was close to the Thunder Ancient Country. But this time, mountain-sitting guest crossed half the land of origin and quietly came to Huyang City. Who? Mountain-sitting guest quietly entered the city owner's mansion, and at a glance saw Luo Feng sitting high up in a tower, and he immediately flew over. Luo Feng's world power had long enveloped the surrounding billions of kilometers of Huyang City, and the city owner's mansion was even more shrouded by Luo Feng's spiritual will. No powerful being in the land of origin could hope to break through Luo Feng's world domain and spiritual will to spy here. This spiritual will. Mountain-sitting guest sensed the spiritual will surrounding Luo Feng, which even frightened him, vast as the sea, seemingly capable of annihilating him instantly. Teacher. Luo Feng, dressed in a black robe, smiled as he looked at him. This Luo Feng in black was in his 24 forms world life form true body. This action was of great significance for his teacher, mountain-sitting guest, and Luo Feng naturally went all out, eliminating all chances of accidents. Luo Feng. Mountain-sitting guest looked at his disciple. The intangible aura brought by his disciple felt not a bit less powerful than the monarch of the Thunder Ancient Country. Teacher, please sit, Luo Feng said. Mountain-sitting guest sat down, and then Luo Feng took his seat. You said in your transmission earlier that you could kill the 3 masters of the Sure Kingdom? Mountain-sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. We shouldn't be hasty with this matter. Once we make a move, we must be able to kill them completely. Once we allow them to reincarnate and escape, we won't be able to find them again. I am confident that they will not be able to reincarnate, Luo Feng said. Even the Emperor of Tianquan can't reincarnate? Mountain-sitting guest asked again. Yes, Luo Feng nodded. Mountain-sitting guest suppressed his excitement, carefully pondered various possibilities and asked, how can you accomplish this? Is it a powerful secret treasure? With the 2 ancient countries' ability to probe the past and future, deduce celestial patterns, if they find out you made the move, would they act against you because of the secret treasure? That's why when I make the move, I will change my appearance and breath, blurring causality, Luo Feng said. Even if they investigate the past, they can only trace the identity I've disguised. As for deducing celestial patterns, even if my identity is exposed, I am prepared. Why wait for this day? It's to wait until I am stronger than the Mother River Master and the Wind City Empress, all 5 of them. They have been able to live well under the threat of the 2 ancient countries, so Luo Feng is confident. Are you prepared? Mountain-sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. Although I really want revenge, the dead are gone, the living are more important. You are my disciple who I watched grow up. We still have enough time, we can wait. Even with his anxious heart, mountain-sitting guest could still endure. Teacher, I will not use any secret treasures for this move, Luo Feng said. No secret treasures and you can still kill the 3 masters of Sure Kingdom? Mountain-sitting guest looked at his disciple. Luo Feng nodded. At this moment, mountain-sitting guest realized that his disciple's strength had become terrifying, far beyond a normal emperor or monarch. Okay. Mountain-sitting guest's eyes seemed to ignite, fully prepared, then let's make the move. The Emperor of Tianquan followed the origin Tao of matter, studying the various materials in the world, even elevating the concept of deliciousness to an unimaginable level. After cultivating the primordial bloodline, he even tried to use the flesh and blood of primordial bloodline creatures as ingredients, making the dishes even more astounding. The royal family of Flame Wind Ancient Country enjoyed such luxurious pleasures. After all, the supreme delicacies of the land of origin were considered of the godly king tier in terms of culinary standards. This also enabled the Emperor of Tianquan to form good relationships with many godly kings of the royal family. You've been cooking for me for an era now. Tell me, what do you need my help with? Emperor Di Yen smiled at Tianquan. Tianquan had a good habit of serving Emperor Di Yen. He never actively set conditions. He always sincerely served until Emperor Di Yen himself would inquire, and that's when Tian Kun would speak up. Your Majesty is also aware that there are some troublesome powers surrounding my Sure Kingdom, the Master of the Sure Kingdom said with a smile. The Yu Shui country Master of Yu Kingdom and the Luo He God King of Huyang City have formed an alliance. Now my Sure Kingdom can only target the neighboring second-rate nation, Cold Forest Country. The Cold Forest Country Lord is just an ordinary second-realm godly king inferior to me. However, Cold Forest Country has a special relationship with Qinmu Kingdom. The Sure Kingdom had taken over its surroundings as much as it could. What remained were only Yu Kingdom and Cold Forest Country. Yu Kingdom seemed easy to bully, but who would have anticipated Luo Feng? Now that Luo Feng had become a second-realm godly king, the Sure Kingdom completely abandoned the thought, suspecting, not even with 10 of Luo Feng's clones combined would he be able to defeat him. Cold Forest Country? Emperor Dian nodded. Alright then, you go back and prepare. Once everything is ready, I'll send Yanxiu God King with you. With Yanxiu God King's involvement, I believe Qinmu Kingdom will not dare to interfere. Emperor Dian, as the first emperor of Flame Wind Ancient Country, also had quite a number of powerful followers. Aside from Emperor Dian, there were two second-realm godly kings in the royal family, namely Di Yanxiong and Di Yanxiu. Di Yanxiong, more ambitious, had used the ultimate realm-level primordial bloodline in an attempt to break through to emperor, but fell short in strength, resulting in a semi-uncontrolled state. He was currently imprisoned in a small world and required a formation to maintain clarity. According to the rules of Flame Wind Ancient Country, unless absolutely clear-headed, one would not be released. If he were in Thunder Ancient Country, where a semi-uncontrolled individual during their lucid phase was willing to leave only to be confined again upon losing control, Di Yanxiu, with the supply of numerous resources, had become the strongest godly king under Emperor Dian. With Yanxiu God King stepping in, even Qinmu Kingdom with all its courage would hold back. The Master of the Sure Kingdom rejoiced. Emperor Dian nodded slightly. The Master of the Sure Kingdom left Flame Wind Ancient Country and returned to the Sure Kingdom. It's good that Yanxiu God King can assist. The Master of the Sure Kingdom was very satisfied with his gains. He had served Emperor Dian for too long and was very clear about Dian's temperament. He was currently nurturing his inner primordial bloodline, and if he were to request treasures for nurturing the bloodline, Emperor Dian would likely turn hostile. After all, Emperor Dian was also poor. Aside from Emperor Qin, the 12 emperors all owed massive debts to the imperial clan. They even tried to raise their debts to the limit permitted by the royal family, borrowing all sorts of treasures for their own use, which is why they each had powerful secret treasures. As for repaying their debts, they would pay back slowly. If I could devour Cold Forest Country, I could consume 1/3 of its creatures. The remaining creatures can still slowly reproduce and provide a sustainable nourishment for my cultivation, the Master of the Sure Kingdom thought. 1/3 of the creatures of Cold Forest Country would be enough to restore most of the strength of my primordial bloodline. Some portions of the primordial bloodline could be enhanced by consuming creatures. The countless creatures birthed within the source world, each one an aggregation of the essence of heaven and earth, provided great nourishment to the primordial bloodline. Phew. The Master of the Sure Kingdom leisurely returned to the royal capital. In an unremarkable cave mansion in the royal capital, Luo Feng and the mountain-sitting guest sat opposite each other, leisurely discussing artifact refining skills. Luo Feng's expression shifted. The mountain-sitting guest looked at Luo Feng. Master of the Sure Kingdom has returned, Luo Feng said. The mountain-sitting guest's eyes brightened. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.